a nice green.
All
It
right.
got a lot of blue in it.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Just a reminder that are we being recorded? Okay, just a reminder that we're being recorded, and the video will be on our YouTube page. And with that, we'll just move to the business discussion with the Lionville Fire Company and Euclid.
Okay, we have representatives from both Euclid Ambulance and Lineville Fire Company here today, and we thought it'd be a good opportunity for them to come and just talk with the board about where they are operationally and financially and what they're seeing, so we can be prepared and they can be prepared, and we're just having open, honest dialogue across everything. I don't know who wants to go first.
Good afternoon. My name is Keith Johnson. I'm the chief for Euclid Ambulance. As you are probably more than well aware, 2025 was a challenging year for our organization. They had some leadership challenges, which is why I'm now in the position. I was hired in August, came in full-time in September. Since that time, we seem to be heading in a positive direction. We were actually able to put some money back into our investments that we needed to take out during the year. So that was a positive. We've also replaced multiple aging units with a new responder medic chase unit, which is generally used by the chiefs or one of the paramedics if we have an extra medic on duty that day. We are currently staffing 2 ambulances during the day and 1 at night, so 6A to 6P, 2 units, 1 from 6P to 6A. So we're happy with where we're headed. Challenges we see, we continue to fight with insurance reimbursement, which is a national nightmare. Unfortunately, the insurance companies have the ability to play games. They send checks, partial payments to the patient. The patient may or may not turn that check over to us, and then we have to fight to get it, as well as fight for the remainder of the payment. And it's a significant challenge. Also, with the ongoing times, Medicare and Medicaid is a big question mark. Obviously, with our aging community, a lot of our transports involve that, and that those numbers are significantly less. We actually lose money to serve those patients. Obviously, we don't make a choice on our patients. We treat everybody the same. So in the end, we have to take whatever payment we are going to get. So that continues to be a challenge. Staffing, we are actually pretty good right now, though we are always evaluating our staffing. We are primarily career staff, though we do have a handful of volunteers that help out supplement those crews. We have actually been fortunate. We updated our website shortly after I was hired and had immense interest with new potential volunteers. So we're working through them and hoping to be able to latch onto a couple of them to join the ranks and expand. The one thing we are currently looking at is the need to either cover a 3rd unit during the day for some period of time or add a 2nd unit from 6P to 10P. We seem to get clusters of responses in that time. We'll have a 6-hour period where we'll do nothing, and then we'll have 5 dispatches in literally 25 minutes. And that's very hard to plan for or deal with. Fortunately, we have good relationships with all our emergency service partners, so someone is coming to help, but just as we would go and assist them during that time. We were very fortunate. Shortly after I came in, we were awarded 3 different grants, 2 for purchases of ambulances and 1 for the purchase of 2 cardiac monitors. So that'll be a capital savings to us and our municipal partners of roughly $850,000 and save that over the next couple of years. We're hoping to get 1 unit this year, and the 2nd unit would either be early next year, or depending on manufacturer time, possibly into 2028. But that allows us to spread out our replacement of our units. That's the quick overview. Any questions?
No? So, with the whole situation with West Whiteland, is that, I guess I don't know the status of them with their Good Fellowship was that they took over?
So West Whiteland decided to change their primary provider from Euclid to Good Fellowship June 1st of last year. it obviously had an effect on us, became initially a financial challenge. I believe we have adjusted to our new normal without them, without that township. But our call volume continues to grow even without them. Now it's less than it was, but we've adjusted and we're making progress forward.
Okay.
And we still end up there 5 to 10 calls a month covering for good fellowship.
And they share at the time in June, before June, they shared some of that.
So it was a share, it was a unique share. The bulk of the township was covered by Euclid Ambulance. The Boot Road corridor was covered by Good Fellowship during the day, if I recall. At night, it was kind of a free for all.
Oh. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
We think following lies in terms of needs to their municipality. You know, over the next year, or the next 5 years, you getting that municipal contribution, the level that they're at currently, kind of reach their sustainability levels, or do you expect significant increases? Obviously, inflation, cost of living
Are killing us.
There are adjustments, but are we in the 2 or 3% range each year, or we thinking over the next 5 years there can be significant increases that are necessary? Continue to support.
Operationally, I'm hoping there's not significant increases. I'm still pretty new to here, so I'm just getting and we haven't even had a full year at our new normal, so that's going to take time to truly figure out and develop. But I don't. We're not looking to do. If we increase staffing, it's got to make sense. So on our side, the billing revenue has to at least match what it would cost to staff it, which doesn't take into account everything insurance is and all that, but at least have to cover the staffing. So there would be some increase with that potentially. I am hoping in working with the other municipalities that we cover that they start giving a more fair share as compared. Euclid has been very good to us, and I can't thank you all enough for that. I know Upper Euclid is already looking at an emergency services tax similar to yours. The others, particularly for us, would be West Pikeland and West Vincent. Don't match the commitment we've received from you guys. So I would hope that their increases would help make up for some of those differences. Capital is where we're getting killed, and I'm sure Chief Lamb will say something similar. An ambulance that cost $200,000 a couple years ago is now almost double, and is taking what used to be 6 to 9 months, depending on the manufacturer you use, anywhere up to 3 years for an ambulance, and fire trucks is even more ridiculous. So that's where we're getting killed. These grants are huge. It will pretty much mean our entire fleet is 3 years old. So I'm hoping to get at least 10 years out of those units. So that's going to help me plan out and work with you all on their replacement in the future. So that, to me, that was a huge, I fell into that and I'm thankful.
So yeah, to follow up on this, I mean, you know, when I came in 2018, when I came on the board, we were giving 0, which is outrageously bad. So I don't know how we got to there, but we're not there anymore. But I mean, I think we first started giving 30,000 a year, which was what was being asked of us, I believe. And then, you know, now we're, you know, the amount that's gone up. I mean, you know, put a 0 in there and go higher.
The cost for equipment
yeah.
and supplies has gone up
Yeah,
far faster than I think anybody.
So we're
would
trying to
have
work with you, and I mean, it's you guys dealing with first round, but we're trying to get some predictability on this. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Upper Euclid had asked for some feedback in their work towards the emergency service tax. So I redid our 10-year plan, which I'm going to send you
Great.
A rough estimate of our capital purchases over that time. And that thankfully was adjusted with these grants.
A question, how much does the subscription services add to the revenue?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get you those figures because
Just curious. Just curious.
it's a good chunk. It's not as much as you'd like because the return I think is roughly 45%,
Huh.
which is really low when you think
Yeah.
about it. But it does provide a nice additional income to help offset our expenses. So it's worth doing for us.
Yeah.
And we're looking at ways to make it more effective. But regionally and talking to other services, nobody's at 50% or higher, unfortunately.
Maybe some ways to increase the visibility of that too. I mean, I know people get the
Absolutely. And
notice.
that's one of the biggest reasons we updated our website.
Yeah.
The website was not user friendly. It didn't provide information. We've had such great feedback in the short time we've switched it. Going out to some of the older communities, 55 communities, nursing homes, and working with them for subscriptions because obviously we go there frequently. And I'm always open for feedback on how we can get that message out better. We were discussing this with Upper Euclid last night. The people moving in the area don't get that it's not already paid for completely. That like
I had no.
it's not fully tax funded. It's not fully funded in by any means. They just don't understand it because many of them are coming from cities or areas where they were fortunate enough for that to be, and it's just not a reality here.
Do we have a booth for ambulance services at Community Day?
Should go out with the Girl Scouts when there's because
Yeah, do a collab and you get a free cookie if you subscribe.
And for this year, preliminary one, that the subscription income for
How much was it for the subscription? I'll have to double check that. I mean, it was higher than where I've been in the past, but the number of residents in the area we protect is significantly larger than where I had been previously. But it still could always be better.
What one is what's the break-even point for like how many calls? What's the break-even point on calls to to staff it? Like what?
So I know, and I don't know the exact break number. I know to staff one unit 24 hours a day cost me roughly $300,000 and change. Now we can't control every call we go on, so there is a handful of calls, roughly 30%, where we aren't going to give it, whether it be a traffic accident with no injuries, someone just fell down and needs help up, or there's actually no emergency there, but someone called 911. So we don't get a bill on them. Of our billable calls, we get a 77% return on our billing, which is phenomenal. I can't thank our billing agent enough for that. Is one of the highest I'm aware of in the area. But there is that, and that's what I'm working on that coverage for that 6 to 10 slot or the additional ambulance during the day is how many billable calls do I need to break even? And I can get you those figures to give you a rough idea. It's a great question.
Well, I know you give us the month. Fantastic. What's the breakdown of transport billable call to non-billable?
I can tell you. So for last month, we had 257 total calls. 79 of them were not transported. So
It would be interesting, from expecting, it would be interesting when you get a chance to do some evaluation on those non-billable calls and whether there are things that we could do to help curb them.
bulk of them are lift assists, which we can bill for, but there's no law behind it or insurance is going to pay it. So it's out of pocket and it's totally up to that individual if they want to pay it. And it's not worth us spending money to try and get that money, but we do bill for those calls.
That are independently living beyond where they should be, that they should be in some kind of assisted living or skilled nursing, or is it facilities that have staff that maybe aren't pulling their weight and instead of relying on you guys?
We see both. We do have some at facilities where the staff either won't lift or does need help because of their situation. Thankfully, we don't have as many as some of our surrounding services are dealing with, but we do see that, and we do see a good number at private residents where either they probably should be getting additional care or be in an extended care facility, or it's just the timing is where someone's there, not that they can't help with that, or not able to render their care at that point. So we have 4 ambulances and 2 chase cars, but only 4 bays in our building. We do
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
only 4 bays in the building, so 2 vehicles have to sit outside. Now, generally, roughly 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., one unit is up on Milford Road at the Upper Euclid substation, but it's essentially a tent that it's in. So this winter created challenges for that because we just couldn't leave it out there because it was just too cold for the equipment. So we had to operate both of those units from the main station, which we can do, but it then pulls that unit out of that area, which covers the northern part of Euclid Township and Upper Euclid Township and up north. So we are also out of space in our building. We have a training institute, which does bring in some revenue and also potential individuals to volunteer and or work with us. And we don't have enough space for them. So in evaluating the property, we're pretty stretched out. The only thing we could potentially do is go up, which doesn't really make sense from a financial standpoint. So I have spoken to Mr. Cagle about opportunities in working with the township for that. I'm also working with Upper Euclid for preliminary thoughts of what we can do on the property, which is theirs up in Upper Euclid, for having at least a real garage space that we could keep a unit or two 24/7 to help alleviate that problem. So we are stretched to the limit in that case, but we're making it work. But right now, generally, we have 2 units that sit outside all the time, which is not the best for them.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Mike Lamb, Fire Chief from Lionel Fire Company. For those that don't know me, with me I have Mike Holmes, who's the Deputy Chief. Real quick, I'll do a quick overview of the Lionel Fire Company. So we're a completely volunteer organization. Handle all facets of fire rescue, anything like that. So we have 4 large apparatus. Our first one's an engine, carries 750 gallons of water. That's pretty much a response to our bread and butter type calls. We have a ladder truck with a bucket on it, goes 100 feet in the air for the aerial device. We have a rescue truck, which is essentially a giant toolbox on wheels, if you will. And then we also have another engine, but it's considered a tanker, carries 3,000 gallons of water. There's still parts of our coverage area and the Pennsylvania Turnpike that aren't equipped with fire hydrants. So in that case, 3,000 gallons of water at least helps us get started there for that. We also have 2 boats and a couple support vehicles as well. We cover an area of 21.9 square miles with a total resident population of 28,258 people. I'll kind of give a quick overview of some of the things we did last year. So last year we ordered a new rescue engine to replace our 1998 Pierce rescue truck. If you're not sure if you're familiar or not, unfortunately with fire apparatus, it's not like you can just go down to the Ford dealership down the street and just pick one out. So we have to physically custom spec all of that out. So we have to go through like 400 pages and, you know, even lay out to where even like light switches and things are going to go on the trucks. So there's a lot of homework that has to go on with that. Unfortunately, since COVID, the apparatus market has been pretty much monopolized. So, you know, the trucks that used to, like they were saying with ambulances, a simple engine used to cost $500,000. We're now looking at a total of $1.3 million for this new rescue engine. In addition to that, previously it was about 9 months. Now it's about 4 to 5 years. So unfortunately, we have to plan ahead now just to maintain our apparatus replacement plan for that. So ordered it last year, and we're hoping in late 2028 or early 2029 that we'll see it. But unfortunately, there's many delays that keep popping up there. In addition to that, we replaced all of our AEDs across the trucks and then put them in the firehouse as well. And then thanks in part to you as well, we were able to place a new traffic unit in service, so which will help our fire police officers. They no longer need to use their personal vehicles to go out and try to, you know, block some of the roads around here. So that was some of the things that we were able to accomplish last year. Looking forward for 2026 here, as I spoke about with the anticipated delays, we're looking to begin speccing out another new engine so we can do our apparatus replacement plan correctly and then plan. So hopefully in 5 years, that engine will show up and be able to keep us on track for replacing the fleet as the plan calls for. This year, we're also looking to replace our 1997 F-350 utility truck. So again, a support vehicle, carries some miscellaneous equipment and stuff like that. And then we're also looking to purchase a UTV, which will be helpful for you know, some of the trail systems around here in Marsh Creek State Park, stuff like that. In addition, we were also awarded a grant, so we're going to add the obviously in a fire condition where there's smoke and heat, you can't really see. So we have thermal imaging cameras that we carry. They're now thankfully a lot smaller. So we got a grant and we're going to put them on each air pack. That way, when we go to a fire, every person riding and wearing an air pack will be able to use a thermal imaging camera if they're separated from the 1 or 2 that we carry on the truck. Some of the struggles that we're dealing with right now, our call volume continues to increase. Looking back to 2020, we had 525 calls. Moving forward to last year, we did 756. And as of this year, we're 21 ahead of this time last year. So the volumes just continue to climb and climb. Unfortunately, the fire service as a whole, the volunteerism is dwindling, so staffing is a struggle. Recruitment's been even more difficult. There's a lot of factors for that. One of the issues we just ran into, so the Pennsylvania State Fire Academy is who sets our training standards. So they've just increased, as of a couple weeks ago, the basic firefighter 1 class, which allows you to go inside of a burning building, is now exceeding 200 hours. So for someone to join in off the street and to take that class, they have to already commit 200 hours of their time before they can even, you know, rush into a burning building. We've also started to see too with the climate of the world changing. You know, it used to be a single income household. Now both parents are working. So it's more and more difficult. We have found that if someone doesn't join when they're young in high school, for them that have family commitments and everything else, once they're established, it's very hard for them to be able to commit to doing fire school and, you know, maintaining their job, lifestyle, and family commitments. In addition to that too, we're in a high cost of living area. Again, no one's fault here. But when we do get the high school students that join, you know, they turn 18, you know, they're a very active member for a couple months. Unfortunately, when they go off to college, you know, when they come back, they can't afford to live in our area. So unfortunately, we end up losing them. So it's kind of a revolving door with that we're seeing. And again, too, it's not just a, you know, volunteer you know, volunteer versus career issue. It's the entire fire service is having staffing issues. It's increasingly difficult to attract people that want to do this job anymore. You know, study after study is showing out there now that firefighters have a decreased life expectancy, higher cancer rates, heart issues, you know, the lack of sleep that they get, you know, getting woken up in the middle of the night all relates to heart issues and things like that. And then the fire gear that's supposed to protect us contains PFAS, which is the carcinogen. So it's, yeah, it's a lose-lose all the way around, unfortunately. So, it all comes down to a trickle down effect. The cost of living has increased, call volume. So it's just, it's never ending. And unfortunately, we used to do the clam bake every year, which was, a great time for everyone. Unfortunately, the money we were making from that doesn't even cover the equipment that we're trying to purchase anymore at this point. So, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at. I don't know if you have any questions.
I mean, when you mentioned the click, that was just more taxing on our members as well. I mean, all fire calls and then just about fundraisers, it's hard to get people to do it.
I mean, this is something I've been hearing, for years now. Like, I guess what I always say, when is there a crisis point? I mean, it sounds like in some places it's already, they just can't staff enough. Sounds like you guys are staffed adequately, but like where's the breaking point? How far down the line do you see when you look forward, you say something's going to break here?
I think we're pretty close to it, unfortunately. I mean, I wish I could give you a better estimate. Unfortunately, with the volunteer staff, I could have 20 guys and then in an hour have none, just depending on what people's lives are. There used to be that like, oh, you just struggle during the day. Anymore, it's just 24/7. I mean, there's no real good point to be like, oh, we need help here, but we don't need help here, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What's the next step? You know what I mean? Professionalization.
Probably moving to a combination system where, we have either volunteers supplemented by career staff or vice versa.
Change the cost structure a bit.
Yes, yes.
Is that, I mean, do you think that's next year, that's 5 years from now? Do you think it's incremental where we're starting with one and then, 5 years or 10 years we're at the size of the police department of 16 or 20, or is it, and what's the fire company's organizational capacity to employ those people, or is that something that the township would need to play a role?
Personally, I think it would be better off for the fire company if they were township employees. Just so you're not dealing, what I mean? We're not set up with HR and all that kind of stuff, payroll or anything like that. So we would all have to try to figure that out. I mean, granted, I'm sure we could figure it out, but that's just something we've never navigated before or never needed to. I mean, I would say within 5 years, we definitely need to have something in place.
So
Neighboring municipalities also volunteer? Are any of them?
So West Whiteland's still volunteer. I mean, they're struggling just like everyone. I mean, everyone's struggling. Downingtown's volunteer. East Whiteland is mostly paid at this point. Trying to think. Yeah, most of the main lines pretty much all paid. Anyone that really has an ambulance is pretty much paid. Just it's almost impossible to run a volunteer ambulance at this point. So a lot of them are embedded with the fire companies at that point.
So
So-
as a volunteer, as a volunteer though, particularly for younger people, is this an entry point to a professional volunteer, or paid fire company? Like, do I start here if I'm a young person of the volunteer company as to get my enough hours so that I can go to, say, a paid position?
That's one avenue. I wouldn't say you really necessarily need hours. I mean, certainly we'll pay for training and everything else, and we hope that people enjoy doing this, so they want to what they say.
Well, you made it sound like no one would enjoy doing this.
Well, yeah, right.
You made it sound.
Some of us are nuts and enjoy it. Yeah. Few and far between.
I wouldn't recommend that being your recruitment.
It seemed like this was something anyone would want to do.
Yeah, sorry. Some of us are a little nuts out there, but so some of our younger folks, they do take training, and then they especially now a lot of places are hiring, so they do get hired. But thankfully, they still stick around and are able to help us out as well on their days off.
I mean, I guess, one of the foundation of this question is, what's the pipeline like? If you're going to high school students, I mean, do you recruit at high school students? Do you talk to them? Like, if it's an entry point for another type of profession?
So
Like,
the
what's the incentive for me as a young person to even want to do this?
right. unfortunately, where you really just want to have to be able to help the community. I mean, there's not, it's long hour. I mean, what they say, it's long hours, but you get a cool hat. I mean, really, I know it's funny, but unless people want to do this, there's really no incentive anymore.
Kids do like the graduation project, but we found that they just wanted to get their graduation project, hang out in the firehouse, and then they never really ended up being effective.
Yeah.
How about once you do, based on the surrounding areas, once you do start paying some of the members, how quickly does that, do you shift to a majority? I mean, is there like, first you add a couple and you have a couple years of stability, or or do you change to a paid model pretty quickly?
Some places are able to do it better than others, depending on the culture,
Mhm.
and depending who you hire. I got to be completely honest. It's really a 50-50 split. I'm seeing even the companies that were doing really well are really even struggling to maintain what they have there now. So it just ends up becoming predominantly career.
Mhm.
So
I can imagine that being like kind of an unstable equilibrium to have partial paid, partial volunteer.
right, and like again, some people do it well, but at the same time, it's trying to maintain the people that you have. Unfortunately, it's just little things like if you have three guys that are there getting paid, and then there's a fire call, they're immediately going to leave, which then upsets the volunteers coming from home. But it's like it's a double-edged sword, right?
Mhm.
So it's like we're trying to maintain a public safety level that we need to with our response times and things like that. Obviously, there's ways around it. You can do on-duty station staffing, which some may find a little easier, just because they're able to schedule their time and things like that. But
Staff station for, 5 to 10 o'clock at night. We do have a couple places, guys, volunteering.
Mhm.
And, it works for certain nights, but it's hard to staff the station like on a Friday night.
Mhm.
Sit with fire. But like, the one thing we've learned too, is you have people at the station. We're gonna get the truck out. It's hard when people go home with the traffic in this area, things are gonna solve. You're like, oh, I gotta drive back with 15 with all the traffic.
Right.
Try to get the truck out in 6 minutes.
I will say, in full disclosure, I'm a member of both organizations. And so maybe I have a little bit of too much inside baseball. But I think my perspective to your question about once you start with career staffing, how quickly does it go? To Mike's point, I think it depends on the organization. I think a lot of places here in the area, they have started with career staffing because they've had an ambulance, because they've had an ambulance.
Mhm.
And so the volunteers that were primarily handling fire calls and less EMS calls were used to having career staff around, and so that uh, that harmonization was a bit more natural, and over time, those EMS providers, career EMS providers, have moved into also staffing the fire truck, but they've kind of always been there. I think one of our challenges is that right now they are two separate organizations. And certainly really great spot, but just a thought that maybe you want to explore is, across the street from the fire company is the ambulance that all of that purpose is PPP. And they're looking to add an additional truck and additional staffing. Like, is there an opportunity to figure out, again, knowing where we're going to end up, but slowly getting there of, okay, the ambulance is gonna put up another ambulance with 2 people around the clock. Well, since they're not busy around the clock, if there's some shared arrangements that can happen or take place where we're slowly getting into that process. That again, not looking for anybody to say yes or no. Just maybe something that we want to look at. What kind of shared services? It's almost looking at it from that ugly R word regionalization, but more locally regionalization before we start looking at bigger picture.
Because we kind of have this, so that already wrote, right, it works somewhat, I guess, today, which is great.
Right.
That's been going on since 1990. Without that situation, we would have had this conversation. It was that before the UFO stepped up with the public works assistance, we were lucky to get 2 people, you know, but of course our call line back in like around 200, 250 calls. You know, certainly, you know, but like, you know, they get busier public works, the projects go on, they get older, it's hard to, you know, rely on.
I used to wear the volunteer fire chief hat, so I know the struggle of these guys. And I was a volunteer firefighter for 30 years. With the cost of living, the kids getting older, paying for college and everything, I had to keep full-time jobs outside of time. But you do see like volunteer companies like hiring like drivers, just because it takes more training to do driving, so they can have a driver to help them. 2 people to handle the nuisance calls like the fire. Wires, the smells, the smoke, that kind of stuff. So the volunteers don't have to come out and that kind of stuff. Like they said, struggle with traffic and I'm home and pump blood on come out, fire alarm again, and then there's a burn popcorn or something. You have the paid staff to handle that kind of stuff. The volunteers, you know, she says, great.
To that point, right? I guess one of the other things we can look at is, you know, maybe, and again, I'm just spitballing here. You know, maybe there's an opportunity to work together in terms of that, but much the way that the ambulance has professional career administration, like, do we need that on the fire company side in terms of a paid fire chief or paid administrator that can do a lot of the day-to-day stuff at the fire company and even take some of the administrative burden off the volunteers, so they're more able to, you know, instead of having to come up to the firehouse in the evening to pay bills, they're able to run calls. Maybe only be an extra hour or 2 with your home, but taking some work.
Every little bit adds up.
And one of these guys have really faced the business in the company for years. You just gotta learn pretty good. Great seeing these guys are decades of training experience, but someone's gotta be fine.
That's,
The old timers still listen.
well, that's the problem too, is getting younger folks to come up and take leadership roles.
Right.
You know, like, it just doesn't happen.
I was asking,
Yes.
And it's like having another full-time job. Like every single time the pager goes off, it's at least a half-hour pay. Like, so in addition to everything else going.
Some of us, they're 4 o'clock, I'm done work till the next day. Sometimes we're volunteering, not, you know.
Yeah.
Especially,
Every night I go to bed, I cry. I guess. Fine.
especially if you see almost, you know, and when you don't show up,
Great.
thank you all
Yes, thank
for
you.
what you do. And for showing up.
We appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
And this team,
We appreciate it all.
But, you know, work on your speech. It's like,
Yeah,
you
that-
know, try to be more appealing. Like,
Yeah.
this time it's
I'm assuming that's not your sales pitch. No, but I understand. I mean, I understand the. It's
why? Great. A minute. Emily Sport, they're not.
all right. Well, thank you. You want to move to the business meeting and agenda review? And you feel free to.
We'll have the standard reports. We'll have local government week recognition of employees, something new that we're starting, where we're going to recognize 3 long-time employees. Mike Holmes, who beats everybody at 35 years. He was in 36 this year. He completed 35 last year. And so he actually told me this morning he's going to be in Florida for the meeting. And so,
Good choice.
you know, we won't get the opportunity to thank him Monday night, but we can thank him today for all of your service and everything that you do. So.
Rest and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll have 2 other employees that we'll recognize with 10 years of service. We're going to recognize Jim Warhay as Keep Chester County Beautiful's 2026 Volunteer of the Year recipient. And then we'll have an approval of a contract with Motorola for body worn cameras. That's actually grant funded. The majority of that is grant funded for the police department. And that's replacing our existing body worn cameras. We'll have consideration of approval of ordinance 2026-05, which is relating to key lockbox systems we talked about last month for emergency services to ensure that they can have non-destructive emergency access to buildings. Resolution for to apply for a grant for the Euclid Trail connector here between Newcomen and Valley Hill Road. We'll have preliminary final land development plan approval for Hankin Eagle View Town Center 2, Phase 2, lots 17 and 20, combining those lots and adding a little bit of additional parking. And then permission to advertise a zoning ordinance amendment, zoning change for 510 North Pottstown Pike. Currently zoned commercial, and we'd recommend that to be zoned R1. Keeps with everything around there. That's it.
All right.
Fairly short meeting.
All right. I don't have any questions.
Have no questions.
All right. Well, can I get a motion to, if no other questions, motion to adjourn?
I second the
All right.
motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Thanks, everyone.
You.
Thank you.